for my voice, but I have never seen anything like it.
You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Andrew Zimmel, host of the Andrew Zimmel podcast that you're listening to right now. And tragic day in sports as Kobe Bryant, dead at the age of 41 in a helicopter accident. Along with him, his daughter, Gigi, who, in my opinion, is the biggest loss out of this entire thing. And her bright future cut short. We brought on DeShaun Hartley to talk about it. He's a lifelong Laker fan, and he does a really good job of kind of breaking down and telling us how the rest of NBA fans feel right now. So, DeShaun Hartley. All right, on the phone line right now, we have DeShaun Hartley, lifelong Laker fan, and this is arguably one of the saddest days in recent memory for sports fans around the world. The passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter, Gigi. DeShaun, let me ask you first, where were you when you heard the news?
Well, I had to wake up this morning to take a quick trip to Austin, and then I came back to my apartment in San Marcos, and I was actually sleeping, taking a nap before I had to regenerate for the day, and I woke up from a phone call, and one of my old friends from my old college that I transferred from called me and said, "Hey, your favorite player passed away." And so, it's me. I'm like, don't joke like that. Like, that's not funny. It's not even a joke to really do that because, I'm a lifelong Kobe fan. So, I found out when I was in my apartment, and I couldn't believe it when I heard the news break, and then I went on there, and it said it was TMZ. So at first, when it was TMZ, I'm like, okay, so sometimes TMZ, puts out some fake stuff just to get some clicks or whatever, and then it was the verified account, and then as time just went past through the day, I just kept seeing more articles about Kobe passing away at the age of 41, and as soon as I realized this is actually real, I couldn't do anything but burst into tears, and it's been tears after tears all day today, Andrew. So it's been pretty tough, but that's exactly where I was, in my room, just getting a phone call, and it was very, very depressing for me to hear.
That's rough, man. So I just got done with a workout. I was feeling really good. And I got on my phone, and I got the TMZ push notification, immediately, hey, this is what's happening. And I was similar in that I couldn't believe the news when I saw it. And at first I thought, I didn't think it was a hoax. I didn't think that somebody faked Kobe's death or something like that. I thought that I was hoping that somebody had hacked the TMZ account. But then I saw the LA Times report that there was a helicopter crash, and for those of you that don't know, or those of you that didn't keep up with Kobe the way that some of us might have, is he would travel a lot around LA in a helicopter. Either at the end of his career when he was taking the helicopter in the Staples Center. We all remember he took the chopper into the Staples Center for his jersey retirement. And this was his main mode of transportation. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Immediately I said, This is tragic, but how many other times has he done this? This is routine. The same way that the rest of us get in our car and go to work, he got in his helicopter and was going to practice.
Exactly, and that's literally that's the story. I mean, it's literally in an instant. Yesterday, of course, we know LeBron passed Kobe for third place all time in scoring. And Kobe tweeted out and congratulated him literally at maybe around 9-10 o'clock last night. And then this morning I saw Sharif O'Neal, who's Shaquille O'Neal's son, who tweeted out the DM that he had with Kobe around 8 this morning. And so it's literally, your life can flash in literally a snap of a finger, quicker than a flash of a camera, quicker than light speed. Anything can happen where you just are in a moment where death is going to be upon you. And it's unfortunate. It's very sad. Whether it's a regular person that's not famous, whether it's a famous basketball player, a writer, poet, whatever, it's just very sad to hear any type of freak accident like this that happens, especially now because it is Kobe Bryant after what happened yesterday and that whole thing and how the Lakers are doing this year, and Kobe talking on it. It's very, very upsetting. Life can happen, and you can get taken away in a flash. So if you don't cherish every single day of your life, if this doesn't wake you up and tell you, hey, you might need to, go out, have fun, enjoy your life while you're here on this earth, because at any moment it can be taken away. And I think that's the biggest theme that I got from today.
That has to be the biggest takeaway. And DeShaun, that I've never been the biggest Kobe Bryant fan, and I was trying to explain this to my parents, who didn't, I don't think, completely understand. I don't think they grasped how meaningful this was. This is, when you talk about 21st century athletes, when you go from 2000 to now, I think there is a handful of guys. I think Brady's in there, Serena Williams is in there, Tiger Woods is in there. When we talk about iconic players, that it doesn't matter that they didn't win every single time they took the field, every single time they got on the court, every single time they jumped on the course, is that everybody from every corner of the earth could recognize this person and recognize their greatness. And that to me made Kobe stand out ahead of everybody else. Is that there's people right now waking up to this news in Australia and China and South Korea and all over the world who are weeping right now for the passing of Kobe Bean Bryant.
Exactly. And I would only imagine how it is in China right now, because I know he was a huge ambassador for the Chinese people over there. Besides maybe Yao Ming, he was the biggest ambassador in China. Of course, Stephon Marbury had a stint there. But still, Kobe is a brand name. He's an ambassador, not just for this country, but for the sport of basketball, for Italy, for where he came from, growing up, learning different languages, learning all this different stuff, and seeing different cultures, to actually bring his game over here, to even make it even more iconic, and just to be an iconic person coming out of high school. I would say Kobe was one of the first. Him and KG and a couple other players were some of the first to set the trend that it's okay to be a high schooler and come out of high school and play in the NBA. Go straight to the NBA. So just for him to be able to be that iconic figure and set the tone in that way with a couple of other players, he'll never be forgotten for that. And so a lot of other high school players look up to him and LeBron and other players that came out of high school that went straight to the NBA, like, maybe I can do it. And I know that's a big, thing with the NCAA and how people feel that players should maybe go to college for a year to develop. But again, Kobe just set the trend with an abundance of other players. So just to see what he was able to do for the game in this country and other countries, to have that impact is something that will never be forgotten. This day, it's definitely, like you said, one of the saddest days in sports history that I can remember. And it's definitely going to go down in history for sure.
Now, what do you say to the fans who this was their guy? Like, we talk about this generation now who are Kobe Bryant fans, and if you go on Twitter.com, you're going to fight with them at some point, right? But this I feel like was the gateway for a lot of young people our age getting into basketball. You're too young for MJ. You missed Magic and Bird. And I've always kidded with you saying that you can count the players on two hands that the torch of the NBA legacy has passed to. That we always joked that Bird and Magic held it together, they handed it to Jordan, and then you kind of got to figure out who hands it to LeBron. And I was talking to my brother today, and I said, I gave Kobe a lot of crap, but he really was that generational talent that had a lot of fans come to the games, come to the TV sets to watch him play. So when we talk about the legacy of the NBA and who holds the torch, passing it on to the next generation, he has to be one of those guys, I think.
He's definitely one of the guys that, if you want to say who passed the torch to who, I'm me. I'm a believer that Kobe was really the one who he passed the torch to. Of course, during his 3 rings, a lot of people say Shaq carried him, but you can't really have that team without Kobe. Especially the last 2 years that they won the chip. But you can't really have that team without Kobe. So if you look at that, and then plus he's going through averaging 35 points per game, which was the most we have seen besides maybe AI and Jordan and elite scorers that we've seen in this game. He's definitely an icon in that fashion. And I think he is the one that took the torch from Michael Jordan. I mean, but of course, like I said, Shaq, but he's the one that people had deemed the closest thing to Jordan. He's literally a figure. You can put them side by side on a screen and you can watch them play, and it's literally identical. It's like watching the same thing over and over and over again. And the beauty that he put into his game is something that I think goes overlooked. I think he put the time in to working. He came off the bench as out of high school, and then he had to adjust, build his game all the way up so he can become a star player to eventually getting to 2009 and 2010 to winning his championships. And then that's when I think the torch got passed to LeBron when he joined the Heat. I think that's when LeBron officially became, that was like his league. And I think between the 2000s and the 2010s, between Kobe, Duncan, and Shaq, those are the three most dominant players in my opinion. So I believe he was the one who got the torch, and I believe he was the best player through the 2000s until, of course, LeBron came with the Heat. And of course, we all have different opinions, but he's definitely an iconic figure throughout those years that the next generation and the next generation and the next generation will always look at and be like, that was an elite player, a top 10, or wherever you want to place him on your list in the NBA. And so when you show your kids this, or when you show your grandkids this, they'll definitely see Kobe Bryant, and his legacy will never die. He's a legend, and to me, he's one of the GOATs. Of course, Jordan doesn't like to define it as GOATs. He likes to define eras. So if we're going based off of Michael Jordan, then I'm going to definitely say Kobe is in that GOAT conversation. He's definitely one of the GOATs for that era by himself. I mean, with him and Tim Duncan, of course.
What's going to be your Kobe Bryant memory? What's going to be the defining moment that you remember for Kobe Bryant?
For me, honestly, I wouldn't say the defining moment, but it really hit me. You know how, when you have a girlfriend and then y'all break up, and then after you realize, oh man, I really had a good girl. I feel like the last game that Kobe played, really was the epitome of Kobe Bryant. It really is it just shows the mentality that he has. He was on a minutes restriction in his final game of his career. And I know he had better moments, but for me, growing up and being in high school and just graduating this year and watching him do that in my senior year, that's something that I will hold close to me for pretty much the rest of my life, to go out that way, to bring your team back in the final game of your career. That's how I will remember Kobe, being a competitor, even with the minutes restrictions, still going out there and competing at an old age, not always having the talent that you have next to you to help you go to a championship, but you still continuing to play your part and try your hardest to make everybody better, which is a knock against Kobe. He doesn't make his team better, but I believe there's no way that he doesn't make Pau Gasol better. Pau Gasol had never won a playoff series until he got with Kobe. There's no way he doesn't make a rookie Andrew Bynum better with around the role players that he's with. So just for Kobe, the last glimpse, the last moment of greatness that I got to watch Kobe play will always be a memory that's dear in my heart. And just watching him go out like that against the Jazz, and what a lot of people say is a meaningless game, but to me it means a lot, because that's the last time we ever got to watch Kobe Bryant play in a competitive NBA game like that. So that's the moment that I hold dear, close to me, and I'll always be able to tell my kids or whoever I loved watching Kobe, and that's the moment that defined it for me.
So you and I both know, because we've talked about this before, how incredible his daughter was. And right now there's our generation of guys, and I don't know if you've heard this a lot, but I've heard it a lot from guys that say, oh, I would never want to have a daughter, I only want sons, yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, DeShaun. I am 100% in on the way Kobe Bryant raised his daughter. The passing of Gigi Bryant, to me, is almost more tragic than us losing Kobe. 13-year-old girl, entire future ahead of her. And I've said this before. I think that she had the potential to be the greatest women's basketball player we'd ever seen. Because I watched her AAU tapes. I was keeping up with her since Kobe really took her on the scene and said, hey, this is my daughter. We're going to become like the father-daughter duo. I've been keeping up with her career to this point. I was in love with it. I really did think that she was going to be the next big thing. And the game of basketball not only lost a legend, but lost a future legend, I think, today.
Exactly. And that's sad to hear because she's 13. She hasn't experienced like pretty much anything. At 13 years old, I don't even remember. I mean, it was probably basketball and going to school and hanging out with friends, but I didn't experience anything yet. So I know at 13 years old for her, especially with her last name, I know she was trying to just, try to live to her father's expectations and try to be the best player that she could be because she knows how serious Kobe is about basketball. And if Kobe was training you, he wants you to be in the gym and be serious about it. He's not going to waste his time. And I know that's his daughter, but his daughter also got that work ethic from Kobe, that Mamba mentality. There's a reason that Mamba was across their jersey, not just because Kobe, they could have been named the Kobe Bryant team. They could have had Kobe's name all over it. It's named Mamba because of that mentality. And he wanted his daughter to have that mentality. And it's sad that she got stripped of that because of a tragic incident. And it's sad I also feel bad for Vanessa because I know she has gone through a lot with this. And I know waking up and seeing this on TMZ or however she got the news, I know it was very depressing for a mother. And women go through a lot already, not getting paid as much as men, WNBA players not getting as much shine as men. And just to see Kobe just the other day say he thinks that some WNBA players can play in the NBA today, just goes to show you that he's training his daughter for something way past just trying to play in the NBA. He was trying to make her an elite talent. And like you said, she could have been one of the best WNBA players that we've ever seen. And just with her back to the basket game, the way she could get to the basket with ease at 13 years old, that's something that we'll never forget also. And losing a legend in that sport, because WNBA is a very good sport to watch. If you actually watch them, they're more fundamentally sound than the guys. They're definitely sometimes more skillful than the guys. I'm not saying that, you could put a Paul George against Maya Moore, but what I'm saying is Maya Moore's skill set would fit in with an NBA team if she needed to. And so just to have women be able to come out and play this sport at a very, very high level, and to lose someone who could have taken the game to the next level in terms of ticket sales, in terms of the business side, and just in terms of her play on the floor, she definitely is sad to lose. And I, pray for the family. I pray for Vanessa, Kobe's wife, and I hope everything gets better in that house, and they're in my prayers, of course.
Of course. Now, I tweeted this earlier, and I want to get your opinion on it. As a Lakers fan, Kobe Bryant's statue is going to go outside the Staples Center. Magic has said he's the greatest Laker of all time. Kareem has co-signed it. Shaq has co-signed it. Pretty much all the Lakers greats have said that Kobe's the greatest Laker of all time. He's going to get a statue outside Staples Center. I said that the statue needs to be of him and Gigi. Holding hands, put Kobe in the 24 jersey, put Gigi in the 8 jersey, put it outside. Because I think that Kobe's legacy on the court was always the killer, was always the guy that was going to rip your heart out. And the Celtics announcer today on the radio broadcast said something really interesting. He said, Celtics fans, we didn't think that Kobe could tear our heart out one more time, and that's what happened today. The entire NBA had their heart torn out. What do you think about that idea of having Gigi in the statue with Kobe?
I think actually that's a really good idea. I don't know if the Lakers are going to be able to pull it off. It's the Lakers. I'm sure they could do it. I don't know if they will do it. I don't know if Gigi. I'm not going to say her impact wasn't felt as much, but I'm going to say like she didn't get to that level. I don't know if she got to that legendary level, even though it is Kobe and you want to put a statue of his daughter. I understand. It would be a great sentimental thing. It would be a great thing to see when you walk into Staples Center. That would be a trademark thing for people to go see. It's a great idea. I don't know if Gigi reached that legendary level to be put outside of Staples Center, but I would love to see it. That'd be something great to even do it, or maybe even give Kobe and Gigi a star together on the Walk of Fame in LA, and then maybe just give Kobe Bryant the statue, so that way Gigi's name is attached to Kobe on the star, and we'll never see that. The statue, like I said, I think it's a great idea, but I don't know if they are invested in putting Gigi with Kobe Bryant in front of the Staples Center.
I just think the Lakers family, Jeannie Buss, the Buss family, they've always had this idea of like family fundamentals and like family-owned business and stuff like that. I just think it's a really cool idea. If the Lakers do it, cool.
It definitely is a cool idea.
If the Lakers do it, cool. If they don't, too bad. DeShaun, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Always. Anytime you need me, just to hit my line, and I'm here for you. Thank you for reaching out also.
That's going to do it for the show. We're going to have a couple more of these, I think, as the week goes on. Of course, we're going to do our normal breakdown of whatever's happening. And the Grammys happen tonight as we're recording, so we'll probably get you all that news on Tuesday's episode, the Grammy results. Look, real tough day to be a sports fan. Real tough day for, I think, everybody around the NBA, fans, players. I'm still scratching my head why they played games on Sunday night. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me why you would play games. Also, news that broke while we were recording, Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban says that nobody will wear number 24 in the Mavericks organization from here on out, which very interesting move. And we're going to get more about that as time goes on. But yeah, we're going to try to get a couple more of these. We're going to call them Remembering Kobe. So, yeah. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And, like DeShaun said, the biggest thing we can take away from all this is, love you need to tell people that you love them, and you need to cherish what you have, because you never know when it's gone. So, cherish you guys. Love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow.